Aether Iron is a narrative RPG where you're a smuggler driving around an alternate 1930s New York that has been lifted into the sky by anti-gravity technology. You play as someone trying to survive in the lowers, while the rich and wealthy live in the uppers. The game combines dialogue choices with dice roll checks and turn-based car combat on elevated roadways. It has this noir detective comic aesthetic, with an art deco style that gives it a pretty unique look. The story starts with what seems like a simple transport job. You need to drive a young scientist named Nelly from the upper city to the lower districts. No questions asked. Of course, nothing stays simple. She's got a briefcase full of research. Someone is hunting her down. And there's a mysterious gravitational anomaly. It's worth noting here that the footage is not the completely final version, so the actual final release version may look slightly different. Now, this game has two main parts working together. When you're talking to people, you make dialogue choices that sometimes require talent checks. You roll two six-sided dice, and then add bonuses from your character's abilities. Whether you pass or fail, the conversation changes based on the result. The game has 9 different talents split into 3 categories. Brass covers your physical stuff like being a daredevil or enforcer. Hustle is your social and agility talents, like smooth talking, dodging, or being sneaky, just to name a couple. When you level up, you get points to spend improving these, which unlocks new abilities and makes your checks more reliable. The actual combat happens in cars on these elevated roadways, and it's all turn-based on a grid. Each vehicle has action points that you spend moving and using weapons. Moving forward costs more than braking, which makes sense of course. Your weapons have different ranges, directions they can fire, and cooldowns as well. The shotgun, for example, only works at close range and fires to the side. The Gatling gun shoots backward and also needs a turn to reload. You can also do stuff like ramming other vehicles, which damages both of you, but can push enemies into obstacles, or even off the road entirely. The roads also have these hazards and lanes that end, so positioning also matters. Simply trading hits won't work here. You have to actually outsmart the other drivers. Now, this game has something called the heat system, and this tracks how much attention you're drawing. High heat gives you bonuses to physical checks, but makes you worse at social ones. Low heat does the opposite. It also affects what enemies show up during combat, so you might consider it twice before going in guns blazing all the time, without expecting any consequences. This ties the combat and dialogue systems together, and most importantly, it's done in a way that feels natural. As for the progression, you build up a crew of different characters as you progress, and each one brings different talents and abilities. They can drive different vehicles, and you customize those vehicles with various parts and weapons. There's an inventory system for both your crew and your cars. The game also has a mission log that tracks your objectives, and there is a codex that fills in as you learn more about the world and characters. The game does have different story paths depending on what you do. Now, let's say you want even higher stakes. Then this game also offers a single save mode and permadeath option, if you really want that. The full release will have complete voice acting throughout, which is very impressive. The current build also sounds very decent. There is a thing that could use improvement, and that's actually the music. Right now it feels like it's just there to fill silence, rather than actually supporting the mood. It's these repeating tracks that don't really add much to the atmosphere. A proper score that reacts to what's happening would help a ton. The art direction works really well though. You get these hand-drawn comic panels for certain moments. Then the main scenes with characters and environments. Everything has this floating city vibe with clouds below, since the anti-gravity tech has lifted New York into the sky. And of course the combat system is pretty great, with customization that gives you room to experiment with different strategies. That talent system also has some depth to it. Each talent tree branches out with different abilities. The current build has a surprising amount of polish, in terms of interface and quality of life features like being able to filter inventory or toggle locked codex entries. This one is absolutely worth keeping an eye on, if you're into these story-focused RPGs with tactical combat. And this sentence concludes today's video. If your time was respected, a like or comment is very much appreciated.
Well, I don't know you from a hole in